If you have recently lost your husband, I want to begin by saying something very simple but very real. I see you. I hear you. And I want you to know, you are not alone. In the days and weeks after a husband passes, people come by with casseroles, cards, and kind words. They tell you to stay strong, to take care of yourself, to give it time. But very few people talk about what really happens after the funeral ends, especially when it comes to your finances. The truth is, no one prepares us for this part of life. We prepare for birthdays, weddings, even retirement. But no one sits us down to say, here is what happens to your money after your partner, your life partner, is gone. Today, I want to speak with you heart to heart, because what you are feeling is not just grief, it is also confusion. It is fear. It is questions no one ever taught you how to ask. And I want to help you face those questions, not with fear, but with clarity and strength. In this video, we are going to talk about the financial truths no one tells widows. These are the things I have heard again and again from women who said, I wish someone had warned me before. But this is not just about warnings. It is about wisdom. It is about helping you find peace, not just in your heart, but in your bank account, your mailbox, and your day-to-day life. So whether your loss is recent or many years behind you, I invite you to sit with me for a while. Pour yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let us talk, woman to woman, about what really happens after he is gone and how you can begin to take your next steps forward, not alone, but informed and empowered. The silent shock, financial confusion, after loss. When he passed, the silence was not just in the house. It was in the mailbox, the checkbook, the online accounts, and the bills on the kitchen table. Many women have shared with me that after the funeral ends, after the phone calls slow down, what sets in is not just grief, it is confusion. It is that quiet, overwhelming moment when you realize, I do not know where anything is. You do not know the passwords. You do not know what bills are on autopay or how the mortgage gets paid. You might not even be sure what accounts you have access to or which ones are frozen. And let me say this clearly, this is not your fault. For decades, many marriages worked a certain way. The husband handled the finances. He knew the insurance policy details, the pension rules, the investments, and how much was in which account. It worked. Until suddenly, he was not there to answer your questions. And now you are left trying to figure it all out in the middle of heartbreak. Some widows describe it as walking through a fog. Others say they felt like they were on a ship without a map, without a compass, and without anyone to call for help. If you are feeling that way, I want to assure you, it is normal. And more importantly, it is temporary. Right now, the most important thing is not to have all the answers. The most important thing is to begin asking the right questions, slowly, gently, without pressure. This is not a race. It is a process. One step, one paper, one decision at a time. Here are a few steps you can start with. Number 1, locate all important documents, even if you do not yet understand what they mean. This includes your husband's death certificate, the will, any insurance policies, banking statements, retirement accounts, and credit card information. Number 2, make a list of monthly bills. What is due? What has already been paid? What is set up for automatic payment? Number 3, contact your bank. Let them know of the passing and ask for a simple breakdown of what accounts are active, which ones you can access, and what documentation is needed if any changes need to be made. And number 4, if you have a trusted family member, friend, or financial advisor, do not hesitate to ask them to sit down with you. This is not a time to carry the weight all alone. There is no shame in saying, I need help. In fact, it is one of the wisest and bravest things you can do. You've already survived one of life's greatest heartbreaks. And now, you're slowly learning how to rebuild not only your daily life, but your financial stability too. And I promise you, clarity will come. Let us keep going, step by step. The 5 financial realities no one warned us about. Number 1, Social Security changes are not automatic. Many widows assume that Social Security benefits will just adjust themselves after a spouse passes, but that's not how it works. The system doesn't automatically shift into survivor mode. You have to reach out, report the death, and make a claim for what's called survivor benefits. This process can feel confusing, especially if you've never dealt with it before, but it's essential because the amount you receive could change based on your age, your spouse's work history, and whether or not you're already receiving benefits. For example, if your husband earned more than you and you're over a certain age, usually 60 or 50 if disabled, you may be eligible to receive his full Social Security benefit instead of your own, which can make a big difference in your monthly income. But again, you have to apply. It won't come to you automatically. And if you delay applying, you might miss out on months or even years of income you deserve. One more thing. If you're still working, your survivor benefits may be reduced depending on how much you earn. It's worth sitting down with a Social Security representative or a financial advisor to get a full picture of your options. Don't leave that money on the table. You've earned it, and it's there to help support you through this next chapter of life. 2. Joint accounts can be frozen without warning. Many people think that if their name is on the same bank account as their spouse, everything will continue working normally after a death. But that is not always the case. Depending on how the account was set up, joint tenancy, pay on death, or individual ownership, a bank may temporarily freeze the funds when they learn of a death. This can happen even if you've been using the account for years. Imagine walking into the grocery store and finding out your card won't go through, or calling the bank and being told you can't access money until you provide a death certificate or wait for probate to clear. These things happen more often than people realize, and when they do, it adds unnecessary stress on top of an already difficult time. That's why it's so important to understand how each of your accounts is titled. Is your name listed as a co-owner or just an authorized user? Are there pay-on-death designations in place? And do you know where all the accounts are, including any online banks, credit unions, or retirement funds? After your husband passes, make it a priority to contact each financial institution. Let them know about the death, ask what documentation is required, and take steps to make sure your access to funds continues smoothly. It may take some paperwork, but doing it early can help prevent painful surprises later. 3. Retirement funds may not automatically come to you. You might assume that if your husband had a 401k, an IRA, or a pension, the money will naturally pass on to you. In many cases, that's true, but not always. Retirement accounts depend heavily on beneficiary designations, and if those were never updated, or if something changed, like a previous marriage or a legal mistake, you could find yourself in a tough situation. Beneficiary designations override wills. That means even if the will says everything goes to you, if the retirement account lists someone else, like an ex-spouse or adult child, that person could legally receive the money. It has happened before and it's devastating. There's also paperwork involved. To receive funds from a retirement account, you'll likely need to provide a copy of the death certificate, proof of your identity, and fill out a claim form. You may also have decisions to make about how to receive the money. Take it as a lump sum, roll it over into your own IRA, or spread it out over time. Each option comes with different tax implications. If your husband had a pension, check to see whether he chose a survivor payout. Some pensions end when the worker dies, while others continue for the spouse, but only if that option was selected ahead of time. It's critical to contact the Human Resources Department or the financial institution Managing the plan to get clear answers. 4. Medical bills and debts might still come to you. One of the most unpleasant surprises widows face is the arrival of unexpected bills, especially from hospitals, doctors, or credit card companies. Even after your husband has passed, some debts may still follow you, depending on how they were set up and the laws in your state. For example, if you lived in a community property state, like California, Texas, or Arizona, you might be legally responsible for debts your spouse incurred during the marriage, even if your name wasn't on the account. In other states, joint accounts or co-signed loans can come back to you. Medical bills can also be confusing. Sometimes they arrive months after treatment, and it's hard to know which ones are valid or negotiable. Don't panic. Start by organizing everything. Keep a folder for all medical correspondence. Request itemized bills. And if you're unsure whether a bill is truly owed, speak with the hospital's billing department or a financial counselor before paying anything. Also, be cautious of debt collectors. Some may try to pressure you into paying quickly, even when you're not legally obligated. Know your rights. Take your time. And if needed, speak with an attorney or someone who specializes in estate matters. 5. Scammers often target widows. One of the most heartbreaking things I've heard from widows is that, during one of the most vulnerable times of their lives, they became the target of financial scams. Sadly, it's more common than people think. Scammers read obituaries. They know when someone has passed away, and they see widows as easy targets. You may receive phone calls pretending to be from your bank, Social Security, or even a charity your husband once supported. These callers sound professional. They might use your husband's name. They'll ask you to confirm account numbers or say they need urgent information. Please know this: real institutions will never ask for personal or financial information over the phone like that. Scams can also happen through email, fake websites, or even people showing up at your door pretending to be financial advisors or old friends of your husband. If something feels off, it probably is. You do not owe anyone immediate answers. You can always say, "I need to check with someone first," and hang up or close the door. Protect yourself by being cautious. Don't give out Social Security numbers, banking details, or credit card numbers to anyone you didn't contact first. If you're unsure, ask a trusted family member, friend, or advisor before doing anything. This is your time to heal and rebuild, not to be taken advantage of. Emotional spending and financial grief. Grief affects us in ways we never expected. It is not just the tears or the loneliness or the silence in the house. Grief can also show up in our habits, especially in how we spend money. After the loss of a husband, many widows find themselves making purchases they would not have made before. Sometimes it is small things, like eating out more often, buying new clothes, or signing up for subscription services just to feel some sense of comfort. Other times, it is bigger, gifting large amounts of money to children or grandchildren, buying a new car, or even making changes to the house just to fill the void. And at first, these decisions might feel like self-care. But often, they are driven by something deeper: the desire to fill an emotional gap. This is what we call emotional spending. It is not about being irresponsible or careless. In fact, it comes from a very human place. You have just experienced one of the greatest losses of your life. You're trying to survive the days, one moment at a time. And when something, anything, gives you a brief sense of control, comfort, or even distraction, it can feel like relief. But here is what I want to tell you gently and with love. Emotional spending can quietly damage your financial security in the long run. The small things add up. The larger gifts may feel good in the moment, but they could leave you with less stability down the road. And once the fog of grief begins to lift, many women look back and say, "I wish I had waited. I wish someone had told me to take a breath." So I am here to tell you now. Take a breath. Before you make any large financial decisions, especially in the first 6 to 12 months after your husband's passing, give yourself time. There is no rush. Your heart is still healing, and your mind is still adjusting to a new kind of reality. This is not the time for pressure. It is the time for patience. Here are a few gentle practices to help you protect yourself during this stage. First, create a simple waiting period rule. For example, if you feel the urge to make a large purchase or gift money to someone, write it down. Then wait 30 days before taking action. Let yourself revisit the decision with a clearer mind. Second, track your daily spending, even if just in a notebook. Seeing where your money goes each day will give you a sense of awareness. And that awareness is power. It allows you to pause and reflect instead of reacting to pain. Third, talk it out. If you have a trusted friend, a family member, or a financial advisor, share what you are feeling. Sometimes just saying, "I feel like buying this because I am lonely," can help you realize what your heart is truly needing and find another way to meet that need. Fourth, be kind to yourself. This is not about guilt or shame. It is about learning to recognize the patterns of grief and gently steering yourself toward choices that support your well-being, both emotionally and financially. You do not have to go through this part alone, and you do not have to have it all figured out today. Healing takes time, and so does building a new relationship with money, one that feels safe, steady, and peaceful. So, if today you find yourself standing in a store, staring at something you think might make the sadness go away, ask yourself, what am I really trying to soothe? And then ask, is there a softer way to care for myself right now? Sometimes the greatest act of strength is not buying anything at all, but simply allowing yourself to feel, to cry, and to know that you are still whole, rebuilding financial independence with dignity. After the storm of grief begins to settle, even just a little, many widows find themselves asking a quiet but life-shaping question. What now? It is not just about surviving anymore. It is about living again. And part of living again is learning how to stand on your own, financially, emotionally, and with dignity. For many women, this is the first time in decades they have had to manage money entirely on their own. And that reality can feel overwhelming. You may not have had to think about long-term planning, taxes, monthly budgets, or even how to access certain accounts before now. But here is the truth. No one says enough. You are capable. It is okay to start slowly. You do not need to become a financial expert overnight. What matters is that you begin at your pace, in your way, and with a heart that is still healing. Let's start with some foundational steps. First, take stock of where you are financially today. This means gathering all current financial documents, bank accounts, investment accounts, Social Security income, pension statements, insurance policies, and monthly bills. You do not have to analyze them right away. Just gather. You're simply creating a full picture so you can understand what is coming in and what is going out. Next, create a simple monthly budget, not one that feels strict or stressful, but one that helps you feel calm and in control. Knowing what your regular expenses are can give you a sense of stability. Include things like your mortgage or rent, utilities, groceries, healthcare costs, and any personal spending. This is not about cutting joy out of your life. It is about honoring your money so it can serve you, not stress you. Then, think about your living situation. Many widows face a big question. Should I stay in this house? Maybe it feels too big. Maybe it brings too many memories. Or maybe it still feels like home. There is no one right answer, but it is worth considering how your living space fits with your current and future needs. Downsizing is not a loss. Sometimes it is a gift. A smaller home can mean less maintenance, lower expenses, and more peace of mind. But don't rush. Give yourself permission to make that choice only when your heart is ready. Also, do not be afraid to seek professional guidance. A financial advisor who understands retirement and widowhood can be a valuable partner. They can help you structure your income, manage investments, and avoid mistakes that could affect your long-term well-being. Look for someone who is kind, patient, and willing to educate you, not just manage your money for you. And here is something deeply important. Reclaim your voice in financial decisions. You're no longer in the passenger seat. You're driving now. And while that may feel scary at times, it is also powerful. Ask questions. Trust your instincts. Say no when something doesn't feel right. You do not need anyone's permission to protect your future. Finally, surround yourself with a support system. This can be friends, family, a church group, or even an online community of other widows. Rebuilding independence does not mean being alone. It means choosing who walks beside you and allowing yourself to be supported, encouraged, and uplifted. You are not starting over. You are continuing forward with wisdom, with grace, and with dignity. You've already overcome so much, and what lies ahead may not be easy, but it can be meaningful, empowering, and filled with moments of peace and purpose. Your financial independence is not just about numbers. It is about reclaiming your life, your choices, and your strength. You are not alone. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to pause and say something that might be the most important thing I've said today. You're not alone. You're not the only woman who has opened a bank statement with trembling hands. You're not the only one who has cried at the kitchen table because a bill arrived with his name still on it. You are not the only one who has whispered, "I don't know what I'm doing," and felt ashamed to say it out loud. But you are also not the only one who has stood back up, who has taken one small step and then another, who has said, "I'm going to figure this out, not because I have to, but because I can." This journey of loss, of learning, of rebuilding, is not one you have to walk in silence. That is why Elders Insight exists. That is why we make these videos. Not to give you more noise or more pressure or more lists of what to do, but to offer you a companion on the path, a voice that understands, a guide that respects your pace. What you've gone through is not just the loss of a partner, it's the loss of a shared future, of roles you had both settled into, of routines built over decades. And now, you are doing something incredibly brave. You are stepping into a new season of life, with all the questions, the doubts, and the quiet courage that it takes. You are not expected to have all the answers, but you do deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel informed, and most of all, you deserve to feel supported. If this video has helped you, even in the smallest way, I encourage you to leave a comment below. Tell us what part of your journey you are on. Tell us what questions still keep you up at night. Because here, in this space, we read every word. We respond, we listen. And if you know another widow, a friend, a sister, a neighbor, someone who is quietly carrying the same burdens, please share this video with her. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give one another is simply saying, "I found this, and I thought of you." Before we go, I want you to remember this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are navigating something profoundly hard, with grace, with love, and with the quiet kind of strength that most people never see, but that I see in you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for trusting me with your attention, your story, your heart. And until we meet again, whether here or in another video, please know you are still whole, you are still worthy, and you are never, ever alone.